Did you guys hear the story of the TikTok girl that was brutally stabbed to death by her boyfriend in Ozoro? It was said that they were having an argument, which may have included a video she posted on TikTok moments before she got stabbed. However, though, there are rumors that the relationship was riddled with toxicity and violence. Now, this happened towards the end of March, on the 29th of March, around the 28th and 29th of March, to be specific. And the young girl they called Jessica Uzuwanam, known as Jessica Chidoriya on TikTok, was said to be a student in Ozoro Delta State there, and her boyfriend, Raphael Egbo, was also a student. They were both students, and they were both said to be in a relationship. It's not clear how long they had dated for or how long she had known him. However, the relationship was long enough to the point that her friends claimed that they had warned her multiple times to break up with him. And the reasons they had told her to break up with him is one of a kind. And I think, personally, inasmuch as people did not know the exact argument that led to her being stabbed, I have a feeling I might have an idea, because it was said on that day, around the 28th and in the early hours of 29th, she and her boyfriend were having an argument. It was a lengthy one. It's not clear what it was. Some people are suggesting that he may have suspected her of cheating, which is most likely possible because it's a common thing with young gloves in the university. And then, around this period of this argument, around within this date, it was said she also uploaded a video of herself, where, in the caption, she said something around the words of, "We can't have ugly kids," more like referring to her being beautiful and whoever she gets married to, they will not produce ugly children. It's not clear if she maintained the video. It is also possible she took it down around this time still, but this was said to be the moment, the timeline in which she and her boyfriend eventually got the argument to a very heated point where he brought out a knife and stabbed her. But this is where the story gets spurred because her friends are now speaking out saying that they have warned her multiple times to leave that boy because he was too ugly. These are words from a friend saying that Raphael was too ugly for Chidera. A lot of her friends had said it, but many of them have told her that, "Hey girl, you're too beautiful for this boy. Leave him." Although some of her friends and people who knew her had also pointed out that they've told her to leave him because he too was toxic and he was abusive, which I want to guess is due to the fact that he was probably insecure. And I think maybe the boy Raphael was aware that he was not a 10 next to Chidera. He was aware that Chidera was the pretty one. He was aware that Jessica was more sought after one between the two of them. And I think that could have affected his self-esteem, and that could have made him so insecure that it could also lead to some sort of abuse. Because that would probably be the only way he can control her, or dominate her. And when asked why Jessica did not leave Raphael, her friends are suggesting or claiming that anytime they had told her to leave this boy either because of he's not good looking enough, or either because he is very abusive, Chidera would respond that she would not leave him because he has money and he was taking good care of her, and he somehow was well-to-do even though he was a student. I'm guessing he's one of those boys that would probably use their school fees to impress the girls. I'm not sure, but it's not clear what he did for a living. He could also come from a rich home. It's not stated how he got his money that was sufficient enough to make this girl not leave him despite all the warning signs from her friends. It was then said after she was stabbed, it was neighbors in the compound that had to rush her to the hospital where she unfortunately died as a result of the injury. Raphael was arrested and he was remorseful and sorry, claiming it was out of anger and that she may had said something that set him off. I don't know. Given the timeline of when she referred to, "We cannot have ugly kids" on her TikTok, and given the fact that her friends have pointed out that this boy is not officially the best looking guy out there, I can see how maybe he got really pissed at the fact that she talked or referred or somehow insinuated with the word ugly. Maybe she didn't mention his name in the TikTok video. Maybe she wasn't referring to him. Maybe she was most likely saying as a pretty girl that she is, whoever she's dating, they can't have ugly kids. It could have been a response to her friends who say, "If you marry this boy, your children go well." Maybe she didn't mention his name in the TikTok video. Maybe she wasn't referring to him. Maybe she was most likely saying as a pretty girl that she is, whoever she's dating, they can't have ugly kids. It could have been a response to her friends who say, If you marry this boy, your children will be damn ugly. She was probably referring to them. But at the same time, it just means that she was pretty much attesting to the suggestion or to the idea that her boyfriend is probably ugly, as they say. And I'm sure Raphael had heard it multiple times. I'm sure his own friends had told him, "Wow, for you to bag this kind of girl, what are you doing?" Clearly, the money is probably where he's making up for. I don't know. And I'm sure he's aware of that insecure part of himself, that he's most likely not deserving of her because of how he looks. And maybe that played a role in their fight. Maybe that played a role in how the fight escalated, because they've been fighting long before now. But for it to get to this point, who knows if this was a point Chidera most likely said she was done, that she cannot be with that ugly boy. And then that ticked him off, because I can tell you the best way or the worst way to get to some people's breaking point is to use that insecurity that you have always known and claimed was not a problem against them. And I think in my mind, I'm not sure that probably may have played a role in the part that set him off to the point he had to be violent. And I think so. I don't know. But given all the words surrounding their relationship and her friends wanting her to stay away from him because of that, I will not be surprised if part of why Raphael physically assaulted and stabbed Jessica was because she most likely had engaged in the rumors that he was ugly. It's just unfortunate though, regardless of whether or not of his look, he on his own, they said, had that anger issue and was always violent towards her. You could have just left her. It's quite toxic already when you're in a relationship and everybody's referring to your looks. I don't know. I don't feel bad for him. People need to watch their anger, and for what it's worth, he too had something he was bringing to the table. She was bringing her looks. He was financially providing. So that should be enough power as a guy, regardless of how you look compared to your partner or compared to your spouse. Looks is not everything. For anyone watching thinking, oh, maybe you can relate to Raphael and there is no need for your insecurity to bring you to that level of wanting to take someone's life. It's very important that you're aware of what people think of you. You don't have to care. You don't have to engage. It shouldn't make you feel a type of way, but it should help you understand and navigate through your relationship with people. And I feel for me, Raphael, since he was already giving this girl money and taking care of her, I kind of make up for what society claims he lacks in face compared to her. And all he needed to do was to use that power. That was all he needed to do. Yes, I'm ugly, but hey, I got money. And if this relationship is not working, you leave and I will give you my money. Yes, I'll go with my ugly face. Leave it for me, but be gone. You're not getting any money from me since you're so pretty. Go and meet other guys who will give you money. And it's rare. I'm sure the guy is probably generous. It's probably rare for her to probably find a good-looking guy who can be most likely financially cheerful like him. And if he knew that he had that power, he would have used it rather than stabbed her. He would have carried his shoulder up and let her know that I may not be the best-looking guy out there, but I'm quite generous, and I did like you and I loved you. So if whatever this situation is and you think it's time to go, then go. There should not be enough reason for him to be insecure. If she's talking to other guys, he himself can call it off. He himself can break it off and move with his money to save him more money. But I guess he got caught up in the moment, and this is what happens. Sadly, he's most likely going to spend the rest of his life in jail over this snobby king relationship. And I believe young guys and girls alike can learn a good lesson from this. Don't cut short your life when you have the option to walk away. Just walk away. You have got a great future ahead of you.